What would you share that could make a difference for event planners in the world of advocating for themselves or negotiating? It could be within their team to a direct report. It could be with catering and food and beverage, a hotel negotiation. Just love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I actually
Right.
just
As I
recently
finished my question, I was like, and only take like the next 9 days to do that, answer that question. I
I
mean,
know, I was thinking that we could do an entire executive education course on
right.
this, but I wanted to say I just spoke to a huge group of event planning strategists and professionals in Houston last month, and it struck me how deeply strategic that work is.
Yeah.
And, so the first thing I would say is I want you to drill down on the problems you solve for your company or your industry, right? And really taking the time to think about and quantify the impact you have. Always, negotiation starts with thinking about what are the problems I want to solve, or what are the problems I'm already solving in the world? And how do I communicate that in a meaningful and tangible way so that I can advance the cause? First of all, to event professionals, I want to say I've seen you make a difference in people's lives over and over and over again. I know Seth has seen this too. And so I would tell you to do that, right? Quantify your value, first of all. Secondly, the advice I would give for folks in that role is the advice I would give almost anyone, which is you want to be asking as many open ended questions as possible. If I'm an event planner, I think about within an organization, leadership of that organization might well be my client, my internal client. And so I'm approaching them thinking about what are the problems you guys want to solve with this conference? What do you need to make this super effective, right? To blow the doors off the thing. What are your concerns? What are some of the ways that things haven't gone well in the past? And how can we learn from those? On the flip side, I'd love to know, client, what was the last event you felt like was an 11 out of 10 and what made it that way? Like, so these are the types of questions. And, Seth, these are the questions that you and I ask clients when we work together because we know that when we solve their problems, that's when we're going to be most successful. And so
Yeah.
I would say the same thing for event planners within your organization. The more you can crawl inside the brain space of your internal client by asking those great questions, well, research shows the more good questions you ask, the more money you make, and also the better the relationships you have. And so you can't ask too many. That's where I would tell them to start.